Up, everybody? Welcome into the Drites Bros Sports Channel. Ethan here once again with another mock draft for you. For those of you that have seen any of our or my other videos so far up on the channel, you know the drill. We are on ESPN, 12-team full PPR. We are at the 1 overall today, so it's a little bit different. I wanted to say before we get into it, if you guys find the content entertaining at all, please like and subscribe to support the channel. Also, feel free to comment. Leave me your opinions of players, anyone that we talk about in the video or just in general, what you think of the draft that we end up with. Or if you guys want me to draft from like a specific spot, maybe what spot you have in your home leagues, and we can try it out. Just keep in mind we are going to probably stick to ESPN drafts, so if you don't have an ESPN league, rankings will be different. So I would appreciate your comments either way, guys. I enjoy looking at them and interacting with you, seeing other people's opinions on players. So we are going to get into this. I'm going to pick very quickly. I'm going to pick CMC. He is my number one player in PPR or in non-PPR or 0.5 PPR. What I want to talk about while we're waiting for our next picks, guys, is to not overthink this in the first round. Now, if you don't want CMC and you like to target like a CD Lamb or a Tyreek Hill and take a receiver first, I get that. I tend to build my teams like that as well. I like getting receivers in the first round. I'm a CMC guy, but I'm very much a CD Lamb guy and a Tyreek Hill guy this year. So I don't blame you for those. But at the end of the day, CMC is going to have a ceiling. He's going to have a floor. The only thing that's going to hold Christian McCaffrey back is an injury. And at the end of the day, we can't be drafting off of injuries as much as you think he may get hurt. For example, I had the first overall pick in a league last year. I picked Justin Jefferson. I tried to stay away from Christian because I kind of just assumed he was going to get hurt. That obviously backfired, guys. Christian McCaffrey stayed healthy all year last year and went off. That's why he's the number one pick in a lot of leagues this year. And Justin Jefferson ended up getting hurt for essentially the half of the season and probably cost me winning my fantasy league in that specific league at least. So, Justin Jefferson had a career with injury proof, and he wasn't ever injured. I think he said before last season when he pulled his hamstring pretty badly, last time he was injured was high school. And all of a sudden, he gets hurt. So you just never know. And my point is to just try not to overthink it. So CMC is my number one player. I also wanted to say I wanted to get a draft because I posted a lot of my videos so far. My first pick in the first round has been receivers. I think all of them that I posted so far. So I wanted to get a draft out that not only was drafting from a spot that I haven't drafted from yet, but I also wanted to try to make a little bit different of a build and get that running back in the first round because I know a lot of people are higher on running backs, at least of late. We're in late July so far. So, I wanted to kind of get two things done in one video here and see what happens in the mock draft, and then also be able to show you guys how I'd build a team maybe with drafting a running back first round, possibly a hero RB. We'll see how the board falls. But, we're approaching our next picks, kind of building off of that as well. I mean, I think it's kind of almost irresponsible going into drafts, like trying to build your team out in a certain way, like a zero RB build or hero RB build, because you just don't know usually who's going to be there at your picks. So just be open to different things. This is some advice I give you there. Like, don't go into your draft for sure expecting to build a hero RB build. Just see if that's the way the board falls, and if it falls that way and the values are that way, and then you can do it. If not, like don't commit yourself to certain things before you know what players are going to be there. Take the best value and don't be, I guess, stubborn is a word for it. So try to look at your drafts that way. I think that's the best way to draft. But, I mean, as far as making videos for you guys and trying different things, we do have CMC first. So, I mean, obviously we'll look at the running backs and see if there's any values. I wouldn't hate taking James Cook. I don't mind Rashad White or Kamara. I do think it is too early for those guys. Maybe James Cook's a fine play. I think we're going to go back-to-back picks here with receivers. I love Drake London. I don't have a receiver yet. We're going Drake London. That seems pretty easy. Now, Chris Olave is a guy that's hit and miss in these ESPN leagues as far as where he goes. I know an underdog, he goes like middle of the second round to early of the second round. In ESPN, a lot of times he's there late second round. He has fallen to this first pick of the third round. I am considering taking him. However, I'm going to pass on him regardless of these rankings saying I'm going to take a guy I haven't taken a lot of with Mike Evans. And I want to talk Mike Evans as well. Drake London, Mike Evans feels like a really cool start to my receiving room. Now, let's talk Chris Evans and Chris Olave, or Mike Evans and Chris Olave. Starting with Chris Olave, I'll be quick with him. I like Chris Olave. I think he has the path to a great season. I think the thing about Chris Olave is he has Derek Carr as his quarterback, and I just don't really trust that he has a high ceiling to the extent that I think Mike Evans does. And I want to talk about Mike Evans building off of that. The thing with Mike Evans is I haven't had a lot of Mike Evans in my leagues the past several years, really ever. And there's something in my brain that tells me Mike Evans is injury prone. Mike Evans is touchdown reliant. Mike Evans has Baker Mayfield. But at the end of the day, I think of all these things, and then he goes into the season and he balls out every single year. Baker Mayfield ends up being just fine. He ends up scoring a bunch of touchdowns. He ends up getting targets. So I think this year I'm trying to go into these drafts regarding guys and players like Mike Evans with like just trust and be open-minded that they've shown you that they can be good. And the only thing holding them back, like we talked about with Christian McCaffrey, is an injury. And you can't draft based off of injuries. You know, Mike Evans has all these hamstrings and lower body ankles and stuff. If he's gonna be healthy all year, Mike Evans could be the number one wide receiver. He's gonna probably finish top 5, top 8 at least if he's healthy all year, right? Like, I like Mike Evans. I'm growing more on Mike Evans. I'm telling myself not to be afraid to draft Mike Evans. So getting Mike Evans as a wide receiver too, that feels really good, really cool. He's a guy that I'm starting to target a little more and try not to be afraid of it. So we're slowly approaching our 4th round and 5th round picks here. I have 2 receivers and that running back. Let's kind of just take a look at who's on the board. If we went running back, the only running back that we would go, guys, is Kenneth Walker. I don't really want to take Ramondre Stevenson with the New England running back or the New England offense. He feels like not a 5th round or 4th round pick. He seems like a 6th or 7th round pick. Same thing with Aaron Jones. Now, I think I almost trust Aaron Jones more just because I've seen it in the past with Aaron Jones more often that he's a pass catcher. He's an explosive back when healthy. The thing is he's in that Minnesota offense. I don't know how much I trust it. I don't blame people for taking Aaron Jones. I would personally take Aaron Jones over Stevenson. But I do think he's still more of like a later 5th round pick. Jonathan Brooks, rookie guy on what should be a horrible offense. I'm out in the 5th round on that completely. And then we get into guys like Zamir White, DeAndre Swift, Montgomery. Don't mind any of those guys. I just think, once again, they're not early 5th round picks. So unless Kenneth Walker falls all the way to me, which he's fallen kind of a ways compared to usual, I'm probably going to skip out on running back. We'll keep it on Kenneth Walker there. We could solidify our flex position. I absolutely love Devontae Smith, Cooper Kupp, and Malik Neighbors. I think I probably would go Cooper Kupp, Malik Neighbors, and then Devontae Smith, but they're all just like so close and in that same kind of tier for me that I'd be fine with either one of them really, as Devontae Smith goes and Kenneth Walker. So it looks like we could get Kupp or Neighbors. And then we'll have that back-to-back pick, so we'll consider tight end and quarterback as well. So I don't know. I mean, as I was just telling you, my super sophisticated plan about how I don't want to take running back here and I'm going to just pass and wait, or I like these other positions. What I'm very tempted to do here, just is to take a receiver that I like in my flex spot and then to snag Aaron Jones. And I wouldn't mind that because I haven't talked a lot of Aaron Jones in my drafts so far. And just wait on quarterback and tight end. So before it counts down, let's get Kupp or Neighbors. Kupp or Neighbors. Neighbors, number one in a bad offense. Kupp competing with Puka in a good offense. I think I'm going to trust Cooper Kupp's chemistry with Stafford. I'm just going to solidify him as my flex. I mean, come on. Drake London, Mike Evans, Cooper Kupp in your starting lineup. That's pretty sick, right? Let's do it, guys. Let's just see what quarterbacks and tight ends are going to be there at our next picks. Let's get Aaron Jones. Okay? I know I just got done talking Aaron Jones is why I don't like him. I'm sorry. I know you're like, what are you doing, dude? You just told us for 2 minutes straight why you don't want Aaron Jones, and then you end up just picking him. I get it. My bad. I don't hate Aaron Jones, as I was saying, though. I really don't. I think I'm seeing out of Vikings training camp, I'm seeing some like explosive plays coming from their quarterback position. I'm hearing mixed things about Sam Darnold, as like I'm hearing he's making some great plays, and then I'm hearing he's making some stupid plays. But then I'm also seeing J.J. McCarthy make some really good plays. So my worry with their offense is the quarterback. And if the quarterback's able to play decent, I think their offense is going to be just fine with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and then Aaron Jones, you know? So, like, if Aaron Jones is healthy and what should be a fine offense, if those quarterbacks are fine, Aaron Jones is a great RB2. Catches passes, pretty explosive when healthy. Some people think he could be competing with Ty Chandler. I kind of look at Ty Chandler as like a solidified RB2 in like real life. Like, I don't think teams in real life, I don't think the Vikings want Ty Chandler to be their RB1. That's why they got Aaron Jones, right? So I think Aaron Jones is going to take the majority of the snap share. Yes, Ty Chandler is going to relieve Aaron Jones, as Aaron Jones has proven to be getting a little older and has struggled some seasons with injury. But I think it's still going to easily be like Aaron Jones is minimum going to be 60% of the snaps, and Ty Chandler will be 30%, and then the third string backup will be the last 10, something like that. So at the end of the drafts, you know, you want to look at your team, and I like when they're balanced. I don't like having Christian McCaffrey and then a bunch of sweet receivers, and then like my one glaring hole is my RB2. So if there's a guy that I'm willing to, that looks like okay value and that I like enough, you just can't be scared to take him, regardless of what maybe the value is. There were some good quarterbacks and there was some good tight ends there. But I wanted to kind of test some stuff out and see which ones maybe fall or how the team looks with some different guys. So we're just going to try it. I do, just looking at the team here, I do still really like it. There's been some mock drafts where I haven't taken Aaron Jones there. Maybe I do take the tight end and I just continue to wait on my RB2. And after, I grade it out of 10 at the end of the drafts, and I end up just, I give it some of my lowest scores because, maybe like it's a 7 out of 10 or maybe like a 6 out of 10 even, just because I don't like the way it looks. It just makes me feel uncomfortable. So that's why these mocks are like useful, just so you kind of know how you like the look of building teams, but still try to go into your drafts without like a stuck plan. Still like plan on looking through the positions and like taking the values the best you can. Now, when you're at drafting at the turns as well, as I've talked about before, you have to be okay sometimes reaching for a guy to make the team look like you want to. So, it's okay to reach to a certain extent in some positions. So I hope that all makes sense. We're about to pick again. Now, I've solidified my starting running backs and receivers in flex. So we can take a peek at the quarterbacks and the tight ends. I don't mind Njoku. I don't mind Ferguson. And then I obviously don't mind Burrow or Murray. So one of these picks is for sure going to be Burrow, because I really think him coming back healthy, their offense should be awesome. And I think he has like a high ceiling if he's good to go this season, you know. Jonathan Brooks is still here. I feel like he usually doesn't make it to the 7th round, but since I already drafted Aaron Jones, I don't care for that. Ooh, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper. Now, I'm sorry to be repetitive. I would go Amari Cooper. For the sake of changing it up a little bit, let's go Keenan Allen as my flex, or not my flex, my bench wide receiver. I feel like that's crazy good value in the 7th round. You know, having Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Kirk, and Rice all still there, along with even Christian Watson, you know, that's a lot of good players that none of them probably are going to be there at my next pick. So I'm okay getting that wide receiver 4 on my team, on my bench, just to feel more balanced and solidified. I probably, if it was my real draft, I probably would go Amari Cooper. I think Amari Cooper is set up for success this season. I think he's not competing with anyone crazy for targets. I think he's easily the number 1. Jerry Jeudy is in there. I don't like Jerry Jeudy. Personally, I don't think he's good, which, you know, makes Amari Cooper, I don't think Amari Cooper's at risk for anything. If anything, it helps Amari Cooper with him being there. And then he obviously is just a dog. Like, he was great last year, Amari Cooper, in the Browns offense. So I would have taken Amari Cooper. However, I'm getting a little higher on Keenan Allen after the first, week and a half or so of training camps. Keenan Allen seems to be Caleb Williams' security blanket. Keenan Allen seems to be always open. He's a slot guy. He's going to get a lot of looks, receptions. I don't think Odunze is going to be all that much of a threat to for most of the season. Obviously, DJ Moore is there. DJ Moore's that outside receiver. DJ Moore is going to catch some of those maybe screen passes or deep threats. Keenan Allen's going to be that middle of the field target hog, along with a Cole Kmet. So I would have gone Amari Cooper because Keenan Allen obviously has a lot more competition for targets. But I'm growing on Keenan Allen slightly because of the way it seems like coming out of camp that he's developing a connection with Caleb Williams. So like I said, go with Amari Cooper, in my opinion, over him. But just to change it up and talk about Keenan Allen a little bit, we'll go Keenan Allen. I'm fine with that. So we still don't have a tight end. We've chosen to kind of abandon the tight end position, and now we're left with Hawkinson, who is coming off of an injury, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play the first several weeks of the season. We have Brock Bowers. We have Goddard. I don't really know why Goddard goes so late. I feel like he's fine. He's not great by any means. But, I mean, Brock Bowers over Goddard, I'm fine with it because I like Brock Bowers, but we've never seen Brock Bowers, right? We don't know how he's going to be. Okay, let's come back and look at some of these guys. Christian Watson's a guy I always target. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to say anything more. I like Jackson Smith and Jigba, and we've talked about Xavier Worthy before. I'm going to take Christian Watson there. Let's look at the running backs. Ooh. Now, I don't like Tony Pollard or Spears, but I think in the a 9th round pick on a bench Tony Pollard doesn't seem bad, and then we can still try to target some of our favorite guys later. Let's get Tony Pollard, guys. Now, we're still looking for tight end, our next pick, but Tony Pollard, although we don't love him because we expect him to just be straight up 50-50 splitting with Spears, I don't mind taking somewhat of a flyer on Pollard later as a bench guy because at the end of the day, I think that's my saying. I feel like I say that a lot, guys. If it's starting to annoy you by me saying that at the end of the day, let me know in the comments. But at the end of the day, Tony Pollard got brought in for a reason. You know, the Titans brought him in for a reason. I don't like the Titans' offense. You know, I mean, they got Hopkins and Ridley there, which, you know, are some star guys. I just don't trust Levis. If Tony Pollard was the only guy there and I didn't expect Tajay Spears to be a factor, then I would love Tony Pollard. Not love, but I would see Tony Pollard for, you know, I would expect big things out of him. I truly do think it's going to be like so 50-50 though. So Tony Pollard, a meh pick, in my opinion. If you can get him on your bench in the 9th round, sure. Because, all of a sudden Tajay Spears gets hurt and then Tony Pollard's great. So don't hate it, don't love it. A guy that I haven't drafted very much at all, so I don't mind drafting him and talking about him. As we're waiting for our next pick, I want to build on that and ask you guys, are you let me know in the comments if you guys are tired of seeing me finish out these drafts in full and talking about all these super late guys. I would understand if you are, and we can we can change it up a little bit. Maybe I can stop picking after pick 10. Because not only do I feel I just feel like it gets repetitive. Now, I can try to pick some different guys like I did with Tony Pollard just to talk about them. But at the end of the day, once again, I'm saying it, at the end of the day, you guys just need to go into your drafts with a handful of guys that you know are going to be later picks and just target them every time. That's what I do. I just have a handful of guys after round 10, those last 5-6 picks that I just try to go into every draft and just take every time. So I don't want to keep talking about the same guys over and over again for you, all of you watching, and it just gets boring and repetitive. So let me know if you prefer me to just kind of chill out. For example, just last video we talked about J.K. Dobbins. I'm going to take him again here. And let's go. I'll take a peek at tight ends. Let's just go Goddard to solidify that. We need to solidify our tight end spot. So, yeah, we just solidified J.K. Dobbins, and we talked about him in the last video, for example. So let me know if you're kind of tired of that, or if you would rather me just make a quick video about some guys that I like to target late and just have that up, and then in all my mock drafts I can end them early, or if you don't mind watching out the mock drafts so we can talk about guys, and I can just try to change up the guys I take sometimes. You know what I mean? I personally don't mind finishing them out and talking about them all the time. You never know what's going to change, and I could just try to switch it up for you. But let me know in the comments what you prefer. I'm kind of just trying to learn from what you guys want to see too. Obviously, I'm new channel, new to videos. I'm still trying to learn a bunch and trying to make every video maybe a tiny bit better, change it up a little bit in some way. But your guys' comments can help that process be a little more smooth maybe. So let's finish out this draft regardless of what we were just talking about. J.K. Dobbins, like I said, talked about. Let's talk about Goddard for a second. I never draft Goddard. I usually try to get a tight end earlier in the drafts to solidify that spot. If you are pushing off your tight end and you're kind of just waiting on it, and I don't mind getting Goddard late. I mean, the Eagles got rid of DeAndre Swift out of the backfield, so maybe those checkdowns to him, some of those can go to Goddard. I don't think the Eagles are going to be as good this year. I think they're going to be in some shootouts, so that could help a tight end like Goddard. If Goddard can just, looking at his stats here, he has some horrible games and he was hurt for some of last season. But if he can just give you 5 targets a game to Goddard, and Goddard can catch 4 for 50, and maybe he scores sometimes, that's a really fine tight end to get late in your drafts. And then you build your bench instead, and then your bench feels really good. You know what I mean? So I don't hate Dallas Goedert as a tight end. Maybe there's some other guys that you'd rather target instead of Goddard. Don't blame you. It's a late tight end. It's kind of just you're throwing a dart. It doesn't feel great, but it's fine. Okay, back to the repetitiveness of some of these late rounds, I mean, I'm talking about Rico Dallard, Wright, and Tracy Jr. So I don't mind Kendre Miller, but I don't like how he hasn't been able to stay super healthy. We're going to stick to what works with Rico Dowdle. I apologize if that's a little repetitive and boring for you guys. I won't talk about him further than that. And then let's go with a receiver here. And maybe I just wait on receiver. You know what? Let's have someone to talk about and go Kendre Miller. Once again, as I'm just saying, don't like him that much, but we'll get him as a late guy. I mean, I was thinking about Jacoby Myers. We've talked about him in a previous video as well. That probably would have been my pick in my real league, but let's talk about a different guy. So, Kendre Miller behind Kamara. Kendre Miller has not proven very much. I think he hasn't been able to stay healthy. Red flags as a young player. The thing with Kendre Miller, literally injures hamstring. My goodness, hamstring injuries are the worst, especially for young players that haven't been able to stay healthy. The thing with Kendre Miller is if Alvin Kamara gets hurt this year, Kendre Miller could be a league winner. Derek Carr likes to check down. Kendre Miller can do that. So it's just one of those guys. It's a late round flyer. I decided to go with another running back to fill out the bench because I already had 5 receivers. So now we're built out kind of evenly, and I can target a receiver with my last pick. Like I said, though, if I had those picks again in my actual redraft league, I'm going Jacoby Myers there, which we've talked about Jacoby Myers in the past as well. So just wanted to talk about a new player again. At the end of the day, try not to overthink it. Just go into your drafts with that list of players you want to target late. Maybe even just rank them in order of how you want to draft them, and then just take which one's at the top of your list every single time, and don't worry about it. Don't think about it too much, or try not to, because what we're doing here is we're just throwing darts at whoever. So, a guy we've talked about and drafted a lot, Josh Palmer, get into the lineup. That's a guy I target. I'm going to go and take him. And then I got to finish out we'll go Moody here. And then we'll finish out with a defense. And then we'll rate the team out of 10. And you guys can give me your opinions as well. So, while we're waiting for these auto picks, it's an interesting team because what I find when I draft, especially when I'm drafting early in the round, in that first round, and I'm a top pick, and I'm drafting CMC, or, even if I'm in the middle of the round and I decide to draft a running back, I feel like I always am not loving my team as much as I do sometimes when I'm drafting a receiver early and building it out that way. In this draft, I think we did a pretty good job, however. Let's take a defense. I mean, I don't mind. I don't even know really which I'll have to do more research just to see which defenses are going to be good. Go Bears defense. I don't know if they're going to be good. We'll see. But, I mean, in this draft, I think we did pretty good. Now, I'm not going to lie. I already know I'm not going to give this a 9. Like a 9 out of 10. Which I've given a lot of my other mock drafts where I'm taking receivers in the first round, regardless of where I'm drafting from. But I think, sometimes I'll draft a running back in the first round and I'll build out my team. And at the end, I'll hate it so much, I'll, rate it as low as, a 6. I don't think I've posted one of those. I think my lowest rating on the channel is maybe a 7 or even, an 8. I've liked a lot of my mocks that I posted on the channel. But, some of them I feel like get pretty bad in my personal opinion. I don't think this one's that bad, but I also don't love it. So let's go through it here. Joe Burrow I feel good about because I think if he's coming back healthy, the Bengals offense could be electric, and it could be great, and Joe Burrow can be slinging it. And it sounds like through the first week and a half or so of training camp, it sounds like he's slinging it around the field to all of his receivers, and he's going to be good. So, if he's not going to get injured, he's going to be top 8 quarterback at minimum in fantasy this year. Most good chance he gets into that top 5 if he's healthy and the Bengals offense is as good as we think it could be. So I'd give that pick, we waited on quarterback. I'd give him a B or B+. I'm totally fine leaving drafts with Joe Burrow. Christian McCaffrey, first pick overall, that's an A+ pick. I mean, we've talked about him. That's awesome. Aaron Jones is where it starts to kind of fall off. I wanted to not absolutely hate my running back position, so I chose to go maybe reach a little bit for an Aaron Jones and an attempt to feel better about it. Looking at it now, I mean, I'm fine with it. I think it's like a C pick. Like the grade's like a C, it's like a C. It's a C pick. It's a C player. Maybe I can convince myself it's like a C plus or a B minus even. But I mean, I don't like seeing Aaron Jones in my lineups. I just don't have the utmost confidence in him. But I can talk myself into it, like I was saying earlier in the video. Like, it's not horrible. It's just like an average. It's a C. My receivers is where it kind of gets good again. I mean, I got Drake London, Mike Evans, and Cooper Kupp as my flex and my starting receivers. That feels fantastic. I like all of them. I like the high upside of Drake London with Kirk Cousins coming in. I think Drake London's, obviously the one in their offense. I think he could become that next Justin Jefferson-esque. Now, I don't think Drake London's as good as Justin Jefferson, absolutely not. But I think Kirk Cousins could raise Drake London's productivity like Kirk Cousins kind of did for Justin Jefferson. Like, Justin Jefferson wasn't quite as good when Kirk Cousins left. That's for sure, when he got hurt last year, right? Justin Jefferson's quarterback proof to a certain extent, like he's still great. But I think Kirk Cousins coming in absolutely helps Drake London. I like taking Drake London late second round, early third round. Mike Evans, we talked about him. Not going to talk too much about him. I just think Mike Evans sitting in my lineup as an wide receiver 2 feels pretty cool. Feels solid, right? Cooper Kupp. I mean, shoot. Cooper Kupp battled some injuries last year. The rising of Puka Nacua. The thing with Cooper Kupp is I'd much rather take Cooper Kupp in the 5th round than Puka in the 1st round. I think the values there with Cooper Kupp, people are just writing off Cooper Kupp like he's not good anymore. He still has that connection and relationship with Matthew Stafford. It's just now Puka does too. They're both great wide receivers. I don't think there should be such a big difference in when they're getting drafted. I think Puka's slightly overdrafted and Cooper Kupp is slightly underdrafted. I think they both should be in like that 3rd round range. You know what I mean? So another place that feels great. And another place where it kind of goes down again, though, is the tight end position. We talked about Goddard. Just don't feel great about him. I think he's passable, but that's like a C pick. Again, Aaron Jones and Goddard are like C picks. The wide receivers are like B plus A's, by the way, if we're grading the wide receiver group as a whole. I do really like the bench in this draft. Getting Keenan Allen and Christian Watson as my bench guys feels like my wide receivers in this draft, even though I went Christian McCaffrey first, are really sick. So that was cool that we were able to do that. That's why this draft isn't going to get a 6 or even like a 7. The receivers are crazy. We talked a lot about Tony Pollard. We talked about a lot about J.K. Dobbins in the last video. I think J.K. Dobbins is simply, like training camp news, early training camp news. J.K. Dobbins is a riser. Obviously, it feels really gross. It feels unsafe. He's battling injuries his whole career. He can't ever stay healthy. Gus Edwards is in that Chargers offense. He's going to take the goal line carries. The thing with J.K. Dobbins is we hope he can stay healthy and we hope he can act like an Austin Eckler without the red zone carries. And all of a sudden, if that's the case, J.K. Dobbins is a fantastic pick in the 10th, 11th, sometimes even 12th rounds. So that's the J.K. Dobbins spiel for this video, slightly shortened up. Talked about Tony Pollard. Don't feel great about Tony Pollard, but we ended up going with Rico Dowdle and Kendry Miller to kind of help solidify the backup running back roles. Or the backup running backs in this team. Doesn't feel great, those guys, but I'm okay with it. It's not going to help the grade, but it's not going to crazy hurt it. And then we get Josh Palmer. So if I'm not getting McConkey on my bench, I am targeting Josh Palmer all day, every day. So that's a great way to end the draft. Once again, just another receiver I really like. So I think this one's a little longer already. I'm going to try to finish it up here. Let's give it a grade I'm going to grade this draft as a 7.8 to get very specific. I was about to say 7.5, But I think the receiving group is just good enough to get it up to 7.8. I don't think it's an 8. The Aaron Jones and the Goddard, I just don't think I can give it an 8 with those guys in the starting lineup. But besides that, I'm confident with the receivers. I like the quarterback. So we'll do a 7.8. You guys let me know what you think in the comments about not only this team, maybe grade it yourselves, but what we talked about in the video as far as players go. Once again, if any of you want to tell me your draft positions in your home leagues, your redraft leagues, let me know in the comments. I can try to get videos out of me drafting for you in your spots. It will be on ESPN, though. Just keep that in mind. So rankings are always different. I'm going to let you guys go. Please like and subscribe if you found this entertaining at all. Peace out, guys. Have a good day.